The Unity Spire was the largest space station in the galaxy. It floated quietly above a bright blue planet, where many different alien species came to meet and talk about peace. Today, the station was busier than usual. A special group of guests had arrived, a group no one had seen for many years. Among them was the princess of the Durrell Syndicate, a proud and powerful alien race known for their psychic powers and sharp minds. The princess's name was HFY. She was tall and graceful, with skin that shimmered like dark silver under the station's lights. Her eyes were bright and sharp, but cold and distant. She floated above the ground, held up by her strong psychic power. No one dared to come close to her. The other guests and guards kept their distance, afraid of her silent power. She seemed to watch everyone carefully, as if she was looking for a hidden threat. HFY did not speak much. She only looked at the people around her with a serious face. The other aliens whispered stories about her. Some said she could read minds and break wills. Others said she was as dangerous as a storm. Everyone respected her, but no one wanted to talk to her. In a quiet corner of the station, a human named Jack Carter worked as an engineer. Jack was different from most of the people on the station. He was relaxed and liked to joke, even in serious places. He was curious about everything and never took himself too seriously. When Jack saw HFY floating alone, he thought she looked sad and lonely. He had a feeling she needed a friend. Jack walked over to the princess, smiling. He was careful not to look scared or nervous. When he was close enough, he said in a loud voice, "Hello, cute girl." His words echoed through the hall. Everyone stopped and stared. The Durrell guards tensed and reached for their weapons. The princess's eyes widened in surprise. No one had ever called her that before. For a moment, the great princess was speechless. Then, very slowly, HFY smiled. It was small and shy, but real. The princess floated down to Jack's level and said softly, "You, come." Jack blinked. Was she asking him to come closer? He nodded and followed her. The other guests whispered and watched carefully. This was the start of something no one expected. Jack and HFY walked together through the busy station. She asked questions about Earth and humans. He told her jokes and stories. For the first time, the great alien princess was not distant or cold. She was curious and interested. The other aliens did not understand. How could a simple human make the Durrell princess smile? What did Jack know that no one else did? For now, Jack and HFY had a secret. A small, strange friendship had begun with just two simple words. "Hello, cute girl." After Jack said, "Hello, cute girl," everything on the Unity Spire seemed to stop for a moment. The crowd was silent. The powerful Durrell guards looked at Jack like he was crazy. They didn't like a human speaking so casually to their princess. But HFY, the princess herself, did something no one expected. She smiled. It was a small smile, but it showed something new. The cold, distant queen had a warm spark inside. Then she said quietly, "You, come." Jack was confused but curious. The princess wanted him to come closer. He nodded and stepped forward. The guards watched carefully but did not stop him. Something about the princess's calm voice made them pause. Jack followed HFY to a private room inside the station. It was decorated with beautiful lights and soft chairs. It was a place for quiet talks and important meetings. But this meeting was different. It was the start of a strange friendship. HFY looked at Jack with her sharp eyes. "What does cute mean?" she asked. Her voice was soft, not cold or harsh. Jack smiled. "It means someone is nice and lovely to look at. Someone who makes you happy." HFY thought about that. "I have never heard that word used for me before." Jack laughed. "Well, you are a princess. People usually don't say that to royalty." HFY studied Jack. "Why did you say that? Why cute girl?" Jack shrugged. "I don't know. I just wanted to say something different. Something real." For many years, Sevillari had lived behind walls of rules and silence. No one had spoken to her like that. No one had made her feel normal. For the first time, she felt a little free. The news of Jack and Sevillari's meeting spread fast. Other aliens watched with surprise. Why was the princess spending time with a human? Some whispered that Jack was trying to trick her. Others thought it was dangerous to get close to a royal. Sevillari ignored the whispers. She wanted to learn more about humans. Jack became her cultural translator. He taught her simple Earth words and jokes. She tried to say hello and thank you in English. Sometimes she laughed at the strange sounds. Jack learned about the Durrell too. He was amazed by their psychic powers and sharp minds. But he also saw their loneliness. The Durrell were proud but closed off. Sevillari was the strongest but also the most alone. Their talks grew longer. They shared stories about their homes, their families, and their dreams. Jack told her about Earth's blue skies and green forests. Sevillari spoke of her homeworld's crystal towers and endless deserts. At night, Sevillari floated in her room and thought about Jack's words. The human had opened a door in her heart. She no longer felt like a lonely princess. She felt like someone who could be friends, maybe more. But not everyone was happy about this. Some Durrell nobles watched with cold eyes. They saw Jack as a threat, a human who did not belong in royal circles. They began to plan how to stop this growing bond. For now, Jack and Sevillari kept their friendship a secret. They met quietly, shared smiles, and learned from each other. And slowly, the great alien princess began to change. The simple words, "Hello, cute girl," had started a ripple that would soon grow into a wave, one that would change the galaxy forever. Days passed on the Unity Spire, but the quiet space between Jack and Princess Sevillari grew louder with meaning. The princess who once floated alone and cold now sought Jack's company. She wanted to learn more, not just about humans, but about this strange feeling stirring inside her. Jack was surprised. He never thought a royal princess would want to spend time with a simple engineer. But every day, she waited for him near the docking bay or in the halls, her silver eyes bright with curiosity. One afternoon, as the stars blinked beyond the station's large windows, Sevillari asked Jack, "Why do humans smile so much? And why do you laugh at small things?" Jack smiled. "Because laughter and smiles make us happy. It helps us forget worries for a moment. It's a way to show we like being together." Sevillari thought about this. On her homeworld, the Durrell rarely showed emotions openly. Smiling was a weakness. Laughing was almost forbidden, especially for a princess. But Jack's open face made her feel safe. She tried to smile again, and this time it came easier. The station buzzed with rumors. The Durrell nobles were watching closely. Some whispered warnings to the princess. "Humans are strange," they said. "You should not trust them." But Sevillari didn't listen. Instead, she asked Jack to teach her more Earth words. Jack happily shared stories about human holidays, foods, and games. He told her about simple things, like a birthday party or a picnic in a park. She listened carefully, eyes wide with wonder. In return, Sevillari began to share her world. She told Jack about the deserts where the wind sang through crystal towers, and the nights when her people watched the twin moons rise. She explained the Durrell's psychic powers, the way they could move objects with their minds or hear thoughts from far away. Jack was amazed. "That sounds incredible. It's like magic." Sevillari laughed softly. "It is not magic. It is power. But power is not always good. It can make you lonely." Jack nodded. He understood loneliness well. "Maybe that's why you like being with me, because we both want to feel less alone." Sevillari did not answer right away. Instead, she reached out and touched Jack's arm gently. The contact was light, but it sent a strange warmth through both of them. It was the first time she had touched anyone without fear or ceremony. For a moment, they just looked at each other, the noise of the station fading away. The princess and the human were no longer strangers. They were two beings, curious and hopeful, but not everyone was happy. The Durrell Royal Council sent a watcher to follow HFY and Jack. They wanted proof of the humans' true intentions. They feared Jack might be a spy or worse, a trick to weaken the Durrell. Jack and HFY did not care. They continued their secret meetings, their bond growing stronger. Each small moment, the shared smile, the gentle touch, the laughter, pushed the princess further from her cold world. Somewhere deep inside, HFY felt a new hope. Maybe humans were different. Maybe she could be different too. And all of it started because a human said, "Hello, cute girl." The Unity Spire was no longer just a place for peace talks. It had become a stage for something more dangerous. Jack Carter and Princess HFY's secret friendship was no longer hidden. Rumors spread quickly among the other guests. Some laughed, but others grew angry. The Durrell Royal Guards watched Jack closely. They saw him as a threat, a human who had entered their sacred circle. The Royal Council warned HFY many times. "You cannot trust a human," they said. "They are clever and sly. They will use you." HFY listened, but did not agree. She wanted to believe in Jack. He was kind, honest, and made her feel alive. But the pressure grew. The Durrell were proud, and some could not accept a simple human near their princess. One evening, during a grand banquet, a group of angry nobles confronted Jack. "You have no right to speak to the princess." One shouted, "You are an outsider." Jack stood tall, his voice steady. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just want to help HFY see the world beyond her walls." The nobles sneered, "You will regret this." That night, Jack was arrested. They said he was a spy, working for enemies of the Durrell. The charges were false, but no one believed him. He was thrown into a small, dark cell on the station. HFY was furious. She used her psychic power to break into the prison area. Her voice echoed in the minds of the guards, warning them to stay back. The guards stepped aside, afraid of her wrath. She stood in front of Jack's cell, her eyes burning with anger. "Why do they treat you this way?" she whispered. "You did nothing wrong." Jack smiled weakly. "Some people fear change. Some people fear what they don't understand." HFY's heart ached. She reached through the cell bars and gently touched Jack's cheek. Her psychic energy flowed between them, calming the fear and pain. Suddenly, the station's alarms blared. The Royal Council had sent reinforcements to take control. HFY's powers flared. She let out a loud, powerful psionic scream. The sound shattered security cameras and broke nearby glass. Everyone on the station felt the shock. The guards rushed in, but no one dared to stop her. She picked up Jack in her arms and floated out of the prison, ignoring the stunned looks around her. "I will protect you," she said quietly. "No one will hurt you again." Jack looked into her eyes. "Thank you for believing in me." The next day, the station's leaders demanded that HFY hand Jack over, but she refused. "He is under my protection," she said, "and I will not let him suffer." The Galactic Concord, the group that kept peace in space, arrived to discuss the problem. They agreed to let Jack stay for now, but only if HFY promised to keep peace. The princess and the human engineer were now bound together by more than friendship. The whole station was watching. Some hoped they would fail. Others hoped they would change the galaxy. Jack and HFY knew their journey was just beginning. Together, they would face enemies, politics, and dangers. But they also had something powerful: trust. And sometimes, trust could change everything. The Unity Spire felt like a cage now. HFY and Jack knew the Royal Council would never accept their bond. Every moment together was watched by guards and spies. The station's corridors felt colder, and the air heavier with suspicion. One night, under the dim lights of the docking bay, HFY made a decision. "We cannot stay here," she said quietly. "They will never allow us to be free." Jack nodded. "Where will we go?" HFY's silver eyes glowed softly. I have a ship. It's hidden on the far side of the station. We can leave, far away from their control." They moved quickly and quietly. Zivaleri used her psychic power to avoid security sensors. Jack used his engineer skills to unlock doors and bypass alarms. Together, they were a perfect team. When they reached the ship, it was small but fast. The engines purred as Zivaleri powered it up. "Ready?" she asked. Jack grinned. "Always." The hatch closed behind them. The air was tight and warm. Zivaleri took the pilot seat, her hands steady on the controls. Jack watched the stars outside the window, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. As they lifted off, alarms began to ring across the station. The royal guards were alerted. Ships scrambled to chase them. Jack's eyes shone with determination. "Hold on tight. We're not giving up." Zivaleri nodded, her mind focused. She used her psychic powers to boost the ship's speed. The engines glowed brighter, pushing the ship forward faster than any other craft nearby. The chase was intense. The guards fired energy blasts, but Zivaleri's powers created a shield around the ship. Jack steered through asteroid fields and narrow gaps between floating debris. His hands moved fast, keeping them safe. At one point, a blast hit the ship's hull, causing sparks to fly. Jack quickly fixed the damage, while Zivaleri kept the shield strong. "Almost there," Zivaleri said. "We just need to reach the hidden moon station." Jack smiled. "I've heard about that place. No one ever finds it." With one last burst of speed, they slipped through the enemy ships and entered the moon station's secret hangar. The doors closed behind them, hiding them from pursuers. Inside the quiet station, Zivaleri and Jack finally relaxed. The danger was not gone, but for a moment, they were free. Jack looked at Zivaleri. "We make a good team." She smiled, a real, warm smile. "I have never felt this alive." They spent the night talking about their next steps. Zivaleri shared more about her powers and her fears. Jack promised to stand by her, no matter what. For the first time, the distance between the princess and the human was gone. They were partners, equals in a dangerous galaxy. But outside the moon station, shadows moved. The royal council was not finished. They sent more hunters to find the runaway princess and her human friend. Zivaleri and Jack knew their journey was far from over. But they also knew something powerful had begun. A friendship born from a simple word, a warm smile, and a daring escape. Inside the hidden moon station, the quiet felt strange after the chaos of the chase. Zivaleri and Jack moved through the halls, their footsteps echoing softly. The station was old but well hidden, a perfect place to rest and plan. Zivaleri sat by a large window looking at the stars. "I never thought I would run away from my own people," she said quietly. Jack nodded. "Sometimes you have to choose freedom over fear." She smiled faintly. "You taught me that. Before, I was a prisoner in my own life." Jack leaned closer. "You're not a prisoner anymore." Zivaleri's eyes shone with something new, hope. Days passed, and they grew closer. Jack helped repair parts of the station's old systems, and Zivaleri shared stories about her past. She told Jack about the heavy duties of being a princess, the strict rules, and the loneliness that came with power. One night, Zivaleri showed Jack a secret room deep inside the station. It was filled with crystals that glowed softly in the dark. "These crystals help me focus my powers," she explained. "They connect me to my people, even when I am far away." Jack touched a crystal carefully. It felt warm and alive. "It's beautiful." Zivaleri smiled. "Yes, but sometimes it reminds me of what I left behind." Jack took her hand gently. "You're building something new here, with me." For a moment, the stars outside seemed to shine brighter. The princess and the human were no longer just allies. They were friends, maybe more. But secrets have a way of hiding in the darkest places. One night, while Jack worked on a communication device, He intercepted a message from the Royal Council. They were sending a large fleet to find HFY and bring her back. Jack's heart raced. They're coming for us. HFY stood quickly. We must be ready. Together, they prepared the station's defenses. HFY used her psychic powers to strengthen the shields, while Jack worked on the engines to make the ship faster and more agile. As they trained and planned, HFY taught Jack some basic psychic skills. He was not as strong as her, but he could feel thoughts and emotions in a small way. Use your mind like a tool, she said. It will help us survive. Jack smiled. I'm ready to learn. Outside, the first ships of the royal fleet appeared, glowing like distant stars. The chase was about to begin again. But inside the moon station, two unlikely friends stood side by side, ready to face whatever came next. For the first time, HFY felt hope, not just for herself, but for the future of all their worlds. And all because a human said, "Hello, cute girl." The royal fleet loomed closer, its ships casting long shadows over the hidden moon station. Jack and HFY prepared for the coming fight. They knew it would not be easy. The Durrell Royal Council wanted their princess back, no matter the cost. Inside the command room, HFY's silver eyes glowed with power. She reached out with her mind, feeling the presence of the approaching ships. Her psychic energy formed a protective shield around the station. Jack worked quickly at the controls, powering up the station's weapons and engines. We need to move fast and stay hidden as long as we can, he said. HFY nodded. I will slow them down. The first enemy ships fired energy blasts at the station. HFY raised her hands, sending a wave of psychic force that shattered the attacks. Sparks flew as the shield held strong. Jack smiled. You're amazing. HFY gave a small smile. We fight together. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships broke through the defenses. It fired a powerful beam directly at the station. Jack's hands flew over the controls, trying to reinforce the shields. The beam hit a critical system, causing a blackout in part of the station. The lights flickered and alarms sounded. HFY's eyes flared bright. She reached deep into her powers and sent a psychic blast toward the enemy ship. The ship shook violently and retreated. But the battle was far from over. In the midst of the fight, HFY sensed something strange. Someone was trying to enter her mind, not with force, but with words. It was a Durrell noble, powerful, and sly. Stay focused, Jack said, noticing her tension. HFY closed her eyes and prepared. The mental duel began. Thoughts clashed like thunder in her mind. The noble tried to plant doubt and fear. He whispered lies about Jack, that he was a spy and would betray her. HFY fought back with all her strength. She sent back her own thoughts, truths of trust and hope. She would not let fear win. After moments that felt like hours, the noble's voice faded away. HFY opened her eyes, calm but tired. Jack reached out and held her hand. You did it. HFY smiled weakly. Together. The battle continued through the night, but the moon station held strong. The royal fleet finally pulled back, unable to capture the princess. As dawn broke, Jack and HFY looked out at the stars. We survived, Jack said. Yes, HFY replied. But this is only the beginning. She turned to Jack, her eyes soft. Thank you for standing by me. Jack smiled. Always. In the quiet moment after the battle, their bond grew stronger. The princess and the human had faced the storm together and survived. The galaxy was wide and full of dangers, but with trust and friendship, they would find their way. Because sometimes, all it takes is a simple hello to change everything. After the battle, the quiet of the hidden moon station was both a relief and a warning. Jack and HFY knew the Royal Council would not give up easily. They needed help if they wanted to survive. One day, a strange message came through the station's old communication system. It was from the Zelkar, an alien race known for their strength and honor. The Zelkar had long been enemies of the Durrell, but they also believed in freedom and justice. Jack read the message aloud. They want to meet us. They say they may help. Sevillari looked thoughtful. Allies are rare in this galaxy, but maybe this is our chance. They decided to send a small team to meet the Zelkar on a nearby planet. Sevillari and Jack would go themselves. It was risky, but they had no other choice. When they landed on the Zelkar world, the sky was dark red, and the air smelled of spice. The Zelkar were tall, strong creatures with sharp eyes and warrior faces, but their leader, Commander Rax, greeted them with respect. "We have heard of your courage," Rax said. "The Durrell Royal Council is a threat to us all. We cannot let their power grow unchecked." Sevillari stepped forward. "I seek peace, not war, but I will fight for my freedom." Rax nodded. "Then you have our support." Over the next days, Jack and Sevillari learned much about the Zelkar. They trained together, sharing skills and stories. Jack was impressed by their discipline and strength, while Sevillari found comfort in their honor. One evening, around a fire under the red sky, Sevillari and Jack talked about the future. "Do you think the Durrell will stop hunting us?" Jack asked. Sevillari shook her head. "No, but now we are not alone." Jack smiled. "Together, we can change things." The Zelkar prepared ships and weapons to help Sevillari's cause, but they also wanted to understand humans and their ways. Jack showed them how humans worked in teams, trusted each other, and fought not just with weapons but with hope. Sevillari watched Jack closely. She realized how much he had changed her, how much she wanted to protect this human, and what he stood for. But even as new alliances formed, danger loomed. The Royal Council had spies everywhere, and word of the Zelkar meeting spread fast. One night, as Sevillari and Jack prepared to return to the moon station, Zelkar scouts warned them of an incoming attack. "We must leave now," Rax said. "The Council's forces are already moving." With the help of the Zelkar fleet, Sevillari and Jack escaped just in time. The battle was not over, but now they had allies. Back on the moon station, they knew their fight had grown larger. It was no longer just about a princess and a human. It was about freedom for many. Sevillari looked at Jack, her eyes shining with determination. "This is only the beginning." Jack nodded. "And we'll face it together." Because in the vast galaxy, even the smallest friendship could spark a revolution. The moon station buzzed with new energy. The arrival of the Zelkar fleet had changed everything. Sevillari and Jack spent their days planning, training, and preparing for the battles ahead. Their small group grew stronger, united by hope and a shared dream of freedom. But the Royal Council was not idle. They sent spies and saboteurs to weaken the moon station from inside. Trust became a precious thing, hard to find. One evening, Jack discovered a hidden transmitter in the station's power core. Someone was sending secret messages to the Royal Council. He told Sevillari quietly, "We have a spy." Sevillari's eyes narrowed. "Find them." They moved carefully, watching friends and allies alike. The spy was clever, but not careful enough. At last, they caught the saboteur, a Durrell noble disguised as a mechanic. When confronted, the spy sneered, "You cannot stop the Council. They own this galaxy." Sevillari stood tall. Not anymore. With the spy captured, the station's defenses grew stronger. The Zelkar warriors trained the crew in new tactics, and Jack upgraded the weapon systems. Days later, the Royal Council launched their biggest attack yet. The sky darkened with warships, and energy blasts lit the stars. Sevillari stood on the station's bridge, her psychic powers glowing. Jack worked beside her, guiding the fleet. The battle was fierce. Ships crashed and exploded. The station shook under enemy fire. But the defenders fought with courage and heart. The Zelkar warriors charged into battle, and the crew used Jack's new technology to outsmart the attackers. During the fight, Sevillari reached out with her mind, breaking the enemy's coordination. Confused and weakened, the royal fleet began to retreat. Jack cheered. "We did it." Sevillari smiled, but she knew the war was not over. This victory is a step, not the end. The news of the battle spread across the galaxy. Many planets saw the courage of the princess and her human friend. Some who had been silent before began to speak out against the royal council. Back on the moon station, as they rested, Jack looked at Sevillari. "You've changed everything." She reached for his hand. "We changed everything." Their friendship had become a symbol of hope, breaking barriers between species and worlds. But even as they celebrated, a new message arrived. A warning from an unknown source. A greater danger was coming, one that could destroy them all. Sevillari and Jack looked at each other, ready for whatever was next. Because when the galaxy calls for heroes, sometimes they come in the most unexpected forms. The warning had shaken everyone on the moon station. A mysterious force, more powerful than the Royal Council, was moving through the galaxy. It threatened to destroy everything: planets, ships, and lives. Sevillari stood at the station's highest point, looking out at the stars. Her heart was heavy, but her spirit was strong. Jack came to her side, his hand finding hers. "We have come so far," Jack said softly. "We can face this too." Sevillari smiled. "We are not alone." Together, they sent messages to their allies, the Zelkar friendly planets, and even some former enemies who wanted peace. The galaxy had to unite or fall apart. The mysterious force arrived. A massive fleet of dark ships, silent and deadly. Their leader was unknown, but their power was clear. The moon station's defenders gathered for the final battle. Sevillari's psychic energy shone brighter than ever, and Jack's technology hummed with new strength. The battle was fierce and long. The dark fleet attacked with weapons that no one had seen before. Ships were torn apart, and the station shook. But Sevillari and Jack fought with courage and hope. They inspired everyone around them. The Zelkar warriors charged fearlessly. The human engineers fixed broken systems quickly. Allies from many worlds joined the fight. At the height of the battle, Sevillari reached out with her mind, connecting with the people of the galaxy. She sent a wave of hope and strength. It was as if every heart and mind became one. The dark fleet faltered. Jack shouted, "Now, strike together." With a united attack, the defenders pushed the dark fleet back. The enemy retreated into the darkness of space, defeated. For now, the galaxy was safe. After the battle, peace talks began, not just between a few worlds, but many. The Royal Council was weakened, and new leaders rose who believed in unity and respect. Sevillari chose to step down as princess. She wanted to be a leader of the people, not just of a royal family. Jack stayed by her side, not just as a friend, but as a partner in building a new future. Together, they traveled from world to world, sharing their story of hope, trust, and friendship. People listened and believed. The galaxy began to change. Sevillari looked at Jack one evening, under a sky full of stars. "Do you remember the first time you said, 'Hello, cute girl'?" Jack laughed. "How could I forget?" She smiled. That simple moment started everything. Jack took her hand, "And it will lead us to new adventures." As they looked at the stars, they knew one thing for sure. No matter what the future held, they would face it together. Because sometimes, all it takes is one small hello to change the fate of the galaxy.